Am I the jerk for wanting my best friend to break up with their partner? I am a 28-year-old woman and have a best friend named Tandy, who is 30 years old. She recently started a relationship with someone who is already in a relationship. I generally try to be supportive and create a space in our friendship that is non-judgmental, but this situation is rubbing me the wrong way. Tandy told me a few nights ago that she wants to break up with her new boyfriend, Daniel, because she feels he is not making enough time for her. She has consistently complained that he is always busy, that he never seems to prioritize her, and that he always seems distracted. I have been telling her to address these issues or walk away because they may just be incompatible. What Tandy failed to mention, however, is that outside of his work commitments, Daniel has a whole other relationship that he needs to tend to, one that he has been in for years. When I found this out, I immediately advised her to drop out of the relationship because it already did not seem like it was working, and she was now part of a cheating duo. What shocked me the most was the fact that Tandy knew he was already in a relationship when she started going out with him. This was particularly upsetting because she broke it off with her last boyfriend because he started cheating on her, and here she is doing the same. I am still trying to be non-judgmental and a safe space for her, but I do not know how supportive I can be when I feel like I do not even know her anymore. Tandy has already expressed that she wants out of the relationship, but is finding it hard to leave him. I must be heartless or something, but I cannot, for the life of me, understand that logic. There is a part of me that wants to ask her if this is her cry for help, as her last relationship seemed really serious, and she was torn about her ex, Tristan, for a long time. Tandy has been watching TikTok videos that affirm that people's relationships are not the affair partner's responsibility, and that women in relationships cannot be mad at their partner's affair partner if their relationships fall apart. I find this ironic because she has been bad-mouthing Tristan's new girlfriend on top of everything else. I am wondering if maybe I am being biased here and seeing things through my own distorted lens because I come from a household that was broken up by cheating, or if this is a valid concern. I am actually questioning our whole relationship at this point. Am I the asshole for wanting her to break it off with this new guy and focus on finding a healthier relationship? You are not the jerk. There's ethical non-monogamy, where everyone in the relationship knows and agrees on being non-monogamous. That's not what this is. Your friend is cheating and is mad at an ex who cheated on her. You're allowed to be biased about that. You don't actually have to support people doing things that you believe are unethical. Caring for someone who doesn't even care about themselves and watching them slowly destroy their own life is one of the worst phases to live through. Am I the jerk for sleeping instead of going car shopping with my partner? Yesterday evening, I, 23-year-old female, and my boyfriend, 29-year-old male, agreed that I would take him to look at some cars this morning. He lost his previous car in a crash, which was not his fault, and since he is not a covered driver on my insurance, I have been driving us everywhere since the accident. This morning, I woke up around 8. I asked him, "What time are we supposed to go and see the cars?" He did not know because the sellers had not responded to him yet. Since he was not sure, I said, "Okay, I'm going to go back to sleep," and did. I fully expected him to wake me up when it was time to go. I am not a heavy sleeper. I am not grouchy or combative when woken up, and it has not been a problem in the past for him to wake me up when it's time for us to go somewhere. I did not expect that he would need to be specifically instructed to wake me up when it was time to go. Instead, I ended up waking up on my own at noon, without him ever entering the bedroom at all. I came out kind of groggy from oversleeping and asked him if the people selling the cars never got back to him. He snapped at me. They did. Hours ago. I asked him if it was time to go soon, and he said, "No, we missed it because of you. And now the one I wanted is sold." I asked him about the other ones, and he just said to forget it. I asked him why he did not wake me up, and he said I chose to blow this off by going back to sleep in the first place. He ignored me when I tried to suggest a few methods of how this could be resolved, such as telling me which car it was and I would look for similar ones nearby, until he snapped and screamed at me that I'm selfish and I ruin everything and cannot ever be relied on for anything. This seems extremely unfair, as I have been driving double his commute to get him to and from work 6 days a week for over a month and have never missed a day. He told me he was going over to his friend's house, who is an alcoholic he only hangs out with to get drunk, and has not come home or communicated with me since. On one hand, I do feel bad for oversleeping, but I kind of feel like he might be using this to get back at me because I have been hounding him to replace his car, so I do not need to keep driving him everywhere. Maybe he wanted a reason to be angry with me more than he wanted to look for a new car. However, my mom scolded me for sleeping in when I called and told her about it. Am I the asshole? In my opinion, you have done nothing wrong here. He could have taken an Uber or found another way to get there if it was so important to him. Instead, he decided to pick a fight and sulk off to his friend's house rather than communicate or find a solution. It sounds like he has no problem being chauffeured everywhere and just wanted an excuse for a fight. You're definitely not the jerk. Maybe it's time to rethink this relationship. Am I the jerk for telling my friends they're wrong to socialize with someone who bullied me? M continuously added me to a group chat to humiliate me and speak down on me. This was while I was trying to tell one of her friends to stop spreading lies about me begging for a sexual relationship with him and calling me a whore. M does not know me but always disliked me without reason. I was respectful to her and tried to make her leave me alone, but she called me names and made fun of me for hours. Her male friends also threatened to jump me and she joined them. A year later, my two closest friends have a class with her. I have always expressed my standard of loyalty with them and said I find it hurtful that they see no problem in being friendly with a girl who thinks so little of me. Recently, one of the two friends, Veronica, would bring up the conversations she had with her, and M would comment on her posts. I tried telling Veronica a couple of times that I do not like that she is basically her friend, but I was ignored. My friend Danielle told me yesterday about an interaction she had with M, and I asked her if it was necessary. She said it would have been rude if she avoided her because Danielle and Veronica both talk to M in their class, and they are friendly. I got upset and ran into Veronica. I told her while holding back tears that their friendship with M is not okay with me, and I wish they had a greater sense of loyalty. When I went home, Veronica ignored the situation and acted like nothing happened. She sent me TikToks and snaps and talked about herself. When I asked her why she was acting like this and told her she was being insensitive, she told me to relax. Then she left me on read while screenshotting everything I said. Danielle apologized and said she did not want to hurt my feelings. She knows how I feel about M. I explained this to her and she responded with, "I am sorry for that. I just think you need to move on and let this go." M has probably changed and continued to say M would probably apologize to me now. M has never apologized to me, and saying M could apologize means nothing. I tried to explain to Danielle that it is about the principle of the situation. They should not want to talk to someone capable of saying horrible things about me. Danielle continued to say that I am hung up on something from long ago and that I will not be able to be in my career in the future. I told her this is not the same at all. Being really upset, I told Danielle that I need better friends than her and Veronica, and that Danielle needs to rethink her values. She should care more about what makes me comfortable than what M would think. This made Danielle mad, and she justified Veronica's behavior, saying that I had been rude first. Danielle still claims that I am overreacting and being dramatic, but she says she will not talk to M. Veronica still has not spoken to me. Danielle and Veronica have been my best friends for years, and I do not know what to do. My other friends say I should cut them off. I just wish they would understand that my feelings are valid and I am not being crazy. It's better to have 1 or 2 loyal friends than 10 bad ones. Drop the ones who don't understand where you're coming from and let them show their true colors. Good friends don't hang out with bullies or make excuses for bad behavior. If they condone it, they find it acceptable, and that says a lot about their character. Would I be the asshole if I kicked out my friend because she talked badly about me to my boyfriend? Would I be the jerk if I kicked out my friend who has been talking badly about me? I, an 18-year-old male, live with my mother and 2 sisters. My friend Evelyn, an 18-year-old female, moved into a rundown RV in my yard. She and I became friends at the beginning of senior year in high school, and we also share a mutual friend, Adam, who is now my boyfriend. Evelyn's home situation was rocky, and upon turning 18, she moved out of her mother's house to live with her then boyfriend. However, that fell through, leading her to get kicked out. My family and I were prepared for this scenario. My mother and I fixed up the RV so she had somewhere to stay. It's not cute, but it is shelter. Rent is $300 with no utility fees because there's electricity but no water. The past 3 months, however, Evelyn has been late with the rent. It's also worth noting that Adam lives inside the house with my family and me. Our dynamic has changed since Adam and I started dating. I have borderline personality disorder, BPD, which severely affects my emotional regulation and interpersonal relationships. One of the symptoms I struggle with is a tendency to idealize and become obsessed in my romantic relationships, sometimes to the detriment of my friendships. This has led to a situation where I've unknowingly neglected other important relationships in my life. This is where Evelyn's resentment comes in. Before moving into the RV, she said she feels as though I went from being her friend to just her friend's boyfriend. I acknowledged her feelings, apologized, and admitted that I had become overly consumed by my relationship with Adam. I made a point to spend time with her every day during and after work, as we share a job. Evelyn struggled to wake herself up, so I woke up 30 minutes earlier to help her. Despite this, she often falls back asleep after I leave to get myself ready, causing us to miss work. Adam is very close to Evelyn, and he cancels plans we've had to hang out with her. This caused me to build up resentment toward them because I would get canceled on, and I was never invited when they would go out. Being left alone many times left me with my thoughts, and I've been spiraling down mentally. Even when I was invited, it was very clear to me that Evelyn didn't want me there. I started to distance myself to avoid that environment. Last week, I built up the courage to tell Evelyn that we should start driving ourselves to work. Evelyn ignored me for the rest of that week. This was my breaking point because I have no idea what I did wrong for her to treat me like garbage. Last night I found out Evelyn has been talking badly about me to my boyfriend. It hurts considering the efforts I made to support her. I can't help but feel taken advantage of and disrespected. Would I be the antagonist to prioritize my peace of mind by asking her to leave? You are not in the wrong here. Yeah, tell her she needs to leave, especially since she's been talking shit about you to your boyfriend. It looks like she wants to either break you up or start something with him herself. For your own peace of mind, prioritize your well-being and really assess how strong your relationship with him is too. Am I the jerk for making my cousin look bad in front of her friends? I and my cousin became very good friends 4 years ago, and I really like her a lot. She helped me overcome a period of self-doubt and anxiety, and in turn, I helped her when she was struggling with a toxic relationship. In general, I am an introverted person, more ambivert, and she is really extroverted. So she helps me come out of my shell and live in the moment, and I help her to be more rational. This works really well for us. Before I say some negative stuff about her, I want to make it clear that she is a good person with good values. The problem I have with her is that she is very chaotic and unreliable. For example, she suggests making a vacation trip and then does none of the planning, so her friends and I have to book and plan everything for her. She forgot or lost her passport 3 times when we were flying with her, and we had to deal with it. She is not on time very often. Sometimes she is over an hour late, even when she is the driver. We have to keep an eye on her all the time. Otherwise, we lose her, for example at concerts. The other thing is that she is always glued to her phone. Everything must be an Instagram story and she always has to look good. When she looks into her phone, the world around her vanishes. You can't even talk to her. It's as if you don't exist. We were driving with a group of cars to go hiking. I was the lead driver and she was my passenger. I told her to enter the destination into the navigation system on her phone. It was her car. Everyone was waiting for me to drive and she was typing on her phone. Initially, I thought she was searching for the destination, but it turns out she was chatting with a friend. I told her a second time, but she was still chatting. I got so annoyed that I told the others over our walkie-talkies that she was chatting rather than doing navigation duties. She then snapped out of her phone zombie mode and entered the destination. We arrived at the mountain and started hiking. The conversation turned to funny stories, and I was telling 2 stories where my cousin forgot about me. The first story was a few days before the hike when she called me to visit her and asked if I wanted pizza since she was ordering, and I said yes. Then she immediately forgot about me and ordered pizza only for herself and 2 other friends. The other story was when she called me, and she said she would pick me up at the train station only to immediately forget. After half an hour of waiting, I called her, and then she remembered that I was waiting. After the trip, she told me that she was really hurt because I made her look bad in front of her friends. We talked about it, and I told her my point of view. She apologized for overreacting. I still get the feeling that it was a terrible thing for me to do. She is trying to become less chaotic. She is even visiting a psychologist, but I don't see that she is getting better. It's really easy to take a story where someone lost a passport 3 times and make them look like an idiot. Instead, try only telling stories about your cousin in a positive light, especially since she's sensitive to her own faults. Criticism isn't going to change those faults, and it can hurt her feelings in front of others. If you want to be a good friend, consider her perspective and choose a better time to bring up any issues. Am I the jerk for banning my son from playing video games? A week ago, I caught my son, who is newly 18, verbally berating a woman online. He just graduated last week. He plays many video games on his computer in his free time, so I am not certain which one it was, but it was a shooting game. I walked by his room and heard him shout, "Dumb bitch!" which left me rooted to the spot in shock because I had never heard him curse before. I pressed my ear against his door and heard him spewing the most sexist comments imaginable. I heard him calling her names like fat ass, bitch, slut, cunt, and cum whore. He told her to go back to the kitchen, that cooking and having intercourse are all women are good for. I only listened for a few minutes and still heard all of that. I opened his door without warning and asked him what was going on. He got upset at me for entering without knocking and embarrassing him for others to hear. He told me to get out. I yelled at him to turn off the game. After some intense arguing, he turned it off. I told him I heard everything and wanted to know if that is how he regularly talks to women in his games. He looked ashamed. He said he was just mad because his team was losing, that it is normal in gaming culture and he does not actually mean it. He admitted he has done this before. I told him that he is no longer allowed to play video games online if that is how he treats people. He got angry again and said he is an adult and can do what he likes. I told him he could, but not on a computer I paid for using a gaming chair and remote I paid for. I spent the next 10 minutes removing his computer from his room. He was very angry. When his father came home, I told him what happened. He agreed with me that our son's behavior was unacceptable, but also felt that I was out of line for removing his game when he is a man now. I got mad at him too. Then he and I argued. I said if he wants to play video games, he can buy his own computer because he will not be doing it on the one I paid for. The other day, my son tried to sneak the computer out of my closet, so I dropped it off at my brother's house and threatened to sell it if he tried to go for it again. My friends and family that I have confided in are mixed on this. Everyone agrees that he was wrong to berate that girl, but some feel that I do not have the right to punish an adult. Some have gone as far as to say it is normal for a teenage boy. Truth be told, I am disappointed and disgusted I raised someone like this. It shames me to think my own son can be that cruel, that he thinks that lowly of women. I have no idea how long this has been going on. At the same time, I keep hearing that he is an adult now, and I am wondering if I am going about this the wrong way. Am I overreacting? Am I the asshole? Nothing you've done here makes me think you are the jerk here. Guys like that are why so many female gamers don't use the mic or even use programs to alter their voices to sound like men. It's toxic as fuck. Your son is an adult, but that doesn't mean you have to tolerate his behavior and provide him with the tools to continue it. If he doesn't want to make you feel like you're only good for certain things, then he can't say that shit at all, right? Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.